Iain, I just want to say to you, the idea that we can come to some agreement with other European countries on this, it seems to me that they're actually at war with each other before we even start.
Well, you'd expect this for an academic, Nigel. Yes and no. The yes is that there are differences of perspective right across the EU. Countries which have hosted huge numbers of migrants already, like Germany and Sweden, are saying enough. Those on the front line, like Italy and Greece, are saying we can't cope with it on our own. And some within the EU, particularly countries like Hungary and Poland, are saying don't send them our way. However, in Poland's case, it's undeniable that they've taken a huge number of Ukrainian refugees, so they're already facing plenty of difficulty. The reason I say that there is a different perspective on this is that there is a common problem. We can't stop the demand to come to Europe. You may not like the European Union in your day, but a lot of people do, coming from other parts of the world. And they think it's a place to try to get to if you're poor or if you're somehow discriminated against in other countries. So there is a clear pull factor from the European Union. And unless there's some way of dealing with that, the pull factor is going to continue indefinitely.
Yeah, I mean, Iain, I was there. I was there in Strasbourg in 2015 when Mr. Juncker, who was then the Commission President, unveiled, and it sort of dusted off, I suppose, really, and activated the European asylum policy, which basically said that anybody that set foot on EU soil, having crossed the Mediterranean, would be allowed to stay. Don't they have to fundamentally readdress that policy and start returning people to Libya, Tunisia, or wherever it may be?
Well, that's one solution. There's a question of whether returning somebody to Libya, which is, let's face it, one of the hellholes of the world now, is a morally appropriate thing to do if someone has made this huge effort to get out of it. Now, you may not like the people coming to Europe or eventually to the UK because you think we shouldn't be so generous towards them. But there is an imperative there to say, well, what's going on in the rest of the world, and can we do something about solving the problem at source?
Yeah, I understand that. No, so I do understand that. I mean, Gaddafi said to us before 2012, before we launched those attacks on Libya, he said, get rid of me and 5 million people will come to Europe. I'm beginning to wonder, did we cause this and actually cause the birth of ISIS ourselves?
Well, there's no doubt a long historical exercise to go into to work out who was most to blame in it. But yes, the chaos in Libya is in many ways a direct result of dumping Gaddafi. However, he'd gone so bonkers by the time he was kicked out that who knows what would happen shortly afterwards anyway, irrespective of whether Cameron and Sarkozy had agreed to intervene. So there is a problem here that sub-Saharan Africa in particular as a demographic profile, which means that young people are growing into this market. They don't find jobs at home. They want to go elsewhere. That's a swell of humanity that wants to move to other places. The solution, one way round, would be to say, can't we help economic development in these places to ensure that there is opportunity there for those who want to move, instead of thinking it purely in military police enforcement terms, which is, I think, where a lot of the drift in Europe has been of late, saying how do we stop it rather than how do we solve it at source.
No, Iain, I get the argument. I don't expect any great agreement to come out from this Grenada summit, do you?
Well, no, because the European political community is so far next to nothing. It has no secretariat, it has no powers. It's a grouping of up to 47 countries. I think I checked carefully just before I came on. The only countries in Europe which are not part of it are Russia and Belarus.
It sort of replaces the old European Council, really. Iain Begg, thank you for your expert testimony.